full sister, but she was like his half-sister. And so I think they shared the same father, but different mothers. And so yes, they were brother and sister, technically speaking. And so he says, let's play this game. Tell people you're my sister and not my wife, because if you're my wife, they'll kill me. So here's the deal, okay? Abram comes up with this really creative solution. But look at the end result. The end result is that other people get wounded. Here's your next blank to write down. Abram enacts a selfish plan and ends up wounding others. I mean, how selfish really do you have to be to send your wife into the king's harem? Right? I mean, that's messed up. That's pretty dysfunctional, okay? Can we admit that? Anyone who's into the indecent proposal movie kind of things in real life, that's what we call dysfunctional. Let's keep going. Story number 3 begins in Genesis 14, 8 through 16. Okay, so there are all these kings, and they've come up and they've captured Lot. We'll find out, we find that out in verse 12. The king of Sodom, beginning in verse 8, the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the valley of Siddim against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar. 4 kings against 5. That's what you need to remember. 4 kings against 5. I could have said that at the beginning, but that's nice, all right? Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food, and they went away. They also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. Keep going. One who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. Now Abram was living near the great trees of Mamre, the Amorite, a brother of Eshcol and Aner, all of whom were allied with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abram divided his men to attack them, and he routed them, pursuing them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the women and all the other people. Here's the deal. Abram here is a very creative guy. He comes up with a solution. Let's attack him in the middle of the night, and let's divide ourselves. We've only got 318 of us. Let's divide ourselves and attack him in the middle of the night and do something here. It's a creative solution, right? Just like his previous creative solution. The only difference between the previous one and this one is that the previous one was selfishly motivated. This one is unselfishly motivated. He's risking his own life so that he can rescue his nephew. And he can rescue the belongings of these people who've been looted. So here's the deal. Here's story number 3. Abram enacts a sacrificial plan and finds success. When he makes a sacrifice, he finds success. Keep going. Just the same chapter, next verse, beginning verse 17. After Abram returned from defeating Kedorlaomer, and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shavah, that is the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abram, saying, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand." Then Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself." But Abram said to the king of Sodom, "I've raised my hand to the Lord, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and have taken an oath that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or the thong of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, 'I made Abram rich.' I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me, to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them have their share." He says, "I will accept nothing, because I don't want you ever to say that you're the one who made me rich," right? Because God's the one who promised to make him rich. Abram says, I'm not going to do anything that takes away from God's credit. I'm going to do a couple things, Abram says. Number one, I'm going to take a tenth of all that I've earned, and I'm going to give it to this priest, the closest priest I can find. Here's Melchizedek. He blesses me. I'm going to give it to him. He takes his tenth, gives it to that guy, and then he says, and by the way, all the other things that you guys could bless me with, I'm not going to keep because I'm trusting God to meet my needs. The word that I would use to describe this is the word worship. And so if you're filling in blanks, that's the next one. Abram responds to his success with worship. All right. So these are the early years of Faithman's life. And you can see there's 4 basic things that go on in his life. And we're going to see these repeat themselves as a pattern over and over again. We're going to see him fail. We're going to see him succeed. We're going to see him do great things. We're going to see him do really stupid things. But throughout it all, God comes back to him time and time again and reconfirms the same promise. I mean, we're right there. Let's just keep reading a little bit more. Genesis 15. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I'm your shield, your very great reward. God just keeps showing up to this guy. Why does he keep showing up to this guy? What is so special about Abram? So Abram complains a little bit here. He says, "O sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I will remain childless? And the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus." And Abram said, "You've given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir." Then the word of the Lord came to him, "This man will not be your heir, but a son coming from your own body will be your heir." He took him outside and said, "Look up at the heavens and count the stars, if indeed you can count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your offspring be." God keeps promising things. And then we get to verse 6. Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. The key to Mr. Faithman is right there. Something happens here that is just beyond my comprehension. See, righteousness is a word that means always doing the right thing. Righteousness means a person who has characteristically never done anything wrong. It is in their nature, it's in their characteristic to always do the right thing. If they have to make a judgment about a particular situation, they make the right call. If they have to take action about a particular situation, they do the right thing. Righteousness means always doing the right thing. It doesn't mean today I did the right thing, so today I was righteous. It means I've always done the right thing. So God looks at Abram. It says Abram believes God, and God credits it to him as righteousness. Abram believes, and God sees Abram's belief and says, that counts. That counts as righteousness. That counts as something that covers his entire life. It covers the moment when he sold his wife into the harem of Pharaoh. It covers the moment later on in his life when he repeats the exact same story to a different